Do you want both of us on? We're live.
We are live.
Ta-da. Do we get fancy intro music and everything?
Welcome to the Weigh-In Show, where we've got fancy new technology and introductions. I'm joined by, as ever, Richard Chapman, who's going to look at the results. And this show, the Weigh-In, is following the hot fishing points competition. This is a 13-week competition, and we're in week 12 of 13 now. So it's starting to come to the end, starting to see how the different movers and shakers in each of the league are kind of leveling out, I would say now, but it's also opportunity to talk about the upcoming autumn season as well, and the new changes that we've got in that. As ever, people can ask. This is live, so people can ask questions, and I know people have got loads of them, so we'll try and answer those as we go along. So, Rich, welcome.
Cheers, mate. So yeah, all feels a bit more professional now, doesn't it? We've got like backgrounds and stuff, and everyone can see all the comments. So obviously, if anyone does have questions or comments or anything like that, we can see them straight away, no matter where you're commenting them. So let loose on that. But yeah, you've had quite a lot going on behind the scenes, haven't you, this last week or so, with new people signing up, new venues, getting involved, new clubs and all that, haven't you?
Exactly. So we offered, I am under no illusions that this takes off when we've got all the clubs and fisheries in the country signed up to this. And I think of those that use hot fishing off their own bat, I think they really like it. And I think they actually should, because it does save you time to do it. But I also get the politest way I can say this is we're a sport resistant to change. So what we're offering to do is a free service. I've got a little team behind me now where we're contacting the clubs and the fisheries that you can send your handwritten weigh sheets in via a WhatsApp group, and we will update the results for you. And what this means is every single match you're in can now be part of the hot fishing points competition. I had loads of people message through the season saying, I'd buy a ticket for this if I knew this club was part of it or this fisher was part of it. Well, now there's absolutely no excuse. If they post the results on Facebook, which they do anyway, this is the organizer, you can click one more button and WhatsApp it to us as well. What's good about that is that you can be part of the hot fishing points competition as well, but it gets more eyeballs on your matches if the organizer as well. I think especially as we're coming into the colder months now, if you want to get more arses on seats, because your matches are going to be on hot fishing, when people use like the match tool, the match search tool, they're going to appear on there. You're going to get exposure beyond your local anglers. We're going to be talking about in this show. And if your anglers really get into this and they start to get to the points, if it's pissing down outside and typically they think, do you know what, I ain't going to turn up today. If they know they've got a chance of getting their points, I'm hoping that they're going to turn along. So give it a shot. There's nothing to lose. We'll type the results up for you. And like I say, I'm really committed to making this work. So just anything we can do to get all the matches on here.
That's it. And it's good to see there's like venues all over the country as well, isn't it? It's not just obviously Northwest Midlands, which is your sort of typical hotbed for match fishing. You've got like, was it Ivy House down south? You've got Southfield signing up. You've got loads of different ones. So from the point side of things, it makes it more interesting that more anglers will be getting involved. So next season, it's going to be a bigger mix of venues. Obviously, you're seeing it at the moment. There's certain venues that are standing out and their anglers are consistently up at the top of the league. But as you get more and more venues, it's going to make it more and more interesting as we go along.
Absolutely. As you say, we've had Southfield Reservoir, Mick Axon, who signed up for that, Ivy House, Woodlands Thirsk, loads. We've had loads in the last week, and I think we're going to have loads more coming up to the next season. But as the anglers, we've had quite a few anglers as well say, great idea. They're going out their way just to get the results off the organizer at the end of the match, and they'll send them in on their behalf. So there's no excuse to be part of it now.
That's it. It's just one of those things that the first few times you do it, it's going to be remembering to do it. But like there's so many venues now using it that it's just second nature that they're either upload the results themselves, ping them over on WhatsApp, and it's just 2 seconds more. It's on there, it's sorted. It's not like you're not having to do a load of work or anything like that to get them on there.
Exactly. And then we don't need that many. I mean, the reality is we start to get like a couple of 100, 300, 400 anglers be part of this. Like we pretty quickly become the biggest cash prizes in the sport. It doesn't take much at all. So there's a means to the end of this as well. Like we want to be the biggest event in the sport, but also legitimize and professionalize and modernize the sport a little bit, that we can take it to the next level. Like we are looking to make this into a proper sport. And I know everyone says that it's not exciting like the darts and the snookers, but there's so much stuff we've got going on in the background that's going to take the sport to the next level. This is just one of the pieces of that puzzle.
That's it. And it's everyone involved as well. You've got like, obviously at the top end, you got like the likes of Andy Bennett, Jamie Hughes, all those promoting it, wanting to be involved in it. And then right at the other end, you've got your club matches where, yeah, it might only be 15 mates having a bit of a knock up every week or every other week, but it makes it more interesting, gives them more to fish for, makes it easier for them to get the results out for everywhere. So it covers all aspects of it, and you can compete against each other. So
absolutely,
definitely more people involved, better it gets, more exciting it is. So basically, just get involved.
Exactly. So we're on week 12. Shall we have a look at the majors?
Let's do it.
How fancy is that?
That's it. So obviously getting to the back end of the season on the major side of things, a lot of the sort of Fishin Mania has already been fished. Maven match of this is this Saturday at Hayfield. That'll be an interesting one. So qualifier wise, it is slowing down a bit. So you're not seeing any massive changes. I think Pete Upperton's probably the one that's took the biggest jumping 7 places. Ryan Lidgard jumping up 18 places. So there's still the odd qualifiers about. I think Fish South and Fish Midlands has fished the last one. When was it? Saturday just gone.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still odd ones about, and the final themselves, that comes into play as well, doesn't it, on the point side of things?
Absolutely. I mean, right now, the final is the same points as any other match. There's discussion come spring when the majors would start again. We're not going to have a major category over autumn and winter because there just aren't enough of them. And then either next year, we either will probably do better prizes for the majors for the people that qualify early, or potentially just scrap the majors and have them part of the opens, because the challenge we've got with the majors is if you qualify early, then it kind of doesn't work. And then because the majors goes over spring and summer, so we might just combine that. The whole point in this is making it as inclusive as possible. And it was an interesting thing to do at the start, the whole majors thing. And we'd probably just keep it as a way that you can look at the results, because I think people do like to look at this. But from a prize perspective, we might also just kind of compile this with the open. So I'm just thinking about that. And the criteria in my mind is always, how do we make this more exclusive? It's not about scrapping things for the sake of it or excluding people. It's about how to get more people involved.
That's it. And it's obviously, I think it'd be interesting to get anyone who's watching their opinion on it. But I think we was talking about in having it on that, making the open side, getting everyone involved is probably the way to do it in my eyes, because there's a lot of those names that you look at on there that they're going to do quite a lot of qualifiers throughout the season, but they're also fishing the opens.
Yeah.
And I think we had someone who was it commenting last week, getting a bit confused on where the results are going, why some are majors, some are this, some of that. It makes it a lot cleaner, gets more people involved, and probably you'll end up with bigger prizes, making the open side more exciting. So having that as a view where you can see what's going on just on the majors is interesting. But I think prize-wise, it'd be interesting to get everyone, either opens or clubs, just your 2 categories, and make it even more interesting.
Absolutely. And this came about wanting to when everyone was put together, like I was getting the feedback that people wanted to be kind of competing against their standard of angler, right? Because you want to feel like you're in with a chance to do it. And that's why we've started to split out the majors. But it's just the nature of that just needs a bit more thought, I think. I still like the idea of having like almost like the top flight, which probably the lads chase in the majors, the opens and the clubs. So we'll figure out how to do that. I was listening to, I don't know if you heard the Guru podcast this week, the one with Tom Scully and Matt. And it was a good one this week, and they were just talking about how it's become quite diluted now. The amount it's great, the amount of matches and competitions, but it's become diluted to figure out like who is the best and how is it. And what I was trying to create with this is the way that even though everyone is fishing in all these different matches, it doesn't matter because we're kind of bringing them together to find the most consistent angler. And I'm still really keen on figuring out how to do that, because as we're trying to take the sport to the next level, bring in outside sponsors, make it more exciting, that's going to be really important to go to them to say, hey, this is where the top flight people are, that we can start to kind of showcase a little bit more than we are now.
That's it. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see obviously what people think, but obviously open to change, see what happens over the next year or two, season or two, as everyone goes through the winter and there's less of those. But at the moment it's looking like Jamie is probably running away with it. I don't think there's enough time for anyone to really catch up with him. 80 points with Matty Dawes on 66 points, so a big jump, but sort of battling out for second place. Art Hilmy obviously got a ticket. He won it last season due to Jamie not having a ticket, so missed out on that. He's on 60 points. You can see Dean Locke not far behind, obviously having to qualify for match this. So if he gets a good result in the final this week, this Saturday, he could be jumping up there as well. Then
I know there's a few matches missing from here. I mean, because one of the things is people just they get up to 3 weeks after the match to submit their results. So I know some of the big matches here haven't yet submitted, or they submitted them later than when I updated this. So I think this will change quite a lot next week. And it's worth noting that although next week is week 13 of 13, there's still a couple of weeks later before it's almost always been the same winner, but people do get a couple of weeks to send in the results. So we won't kind of declare that winner. And then when we actually do, we'll probably have a show and invite some of those people on.
That's it. So obviously everything's a bit of a asterisk by it saying subject to results changing. But yeah, at the moment, it looks like Jamie's winning. Good to see Brad Lucas. He's got a ticket. Young lad who's been putting a lot of time chasing qualifiers and stuff like that. He's currently the 3rd ranked at the moment. So anyone that's new to it, on that little ticket column on the left-hand side, every angler's results are included if it's used on hot fishing. But if you've got a little ticket logo, they've brought into the competition, so they're eligible for prizes. So money prizes up for grabs. I don't know if you want to grab onto the next screen just to show. Obviously, majors have got its own prize pot, as has opens, as has the club matches, and there's something for the overalls as well. So as you can see, first place would be up for 500 quid, 450 for second, 400, 350, blah, blah, blah. So it goes down like that. But I think that was one of the things that John and everyone else was dead keen to do, is spread the money out. So it's not just for winning. If you look on sort of the table as it stands, you think you've got 4 or 5 people on the first page with the ticket, 4 people on the first page. So you're down to after 20th position that you can still pick up money. So it's about spreading out.
I see Andy Bennett is pretty far down, but he's winning the final prize. Like, although he's final down, he's the 7th angler with a ticket. So he'll be happy to hear that he's still going to be picking up 200 quid, even though the season's probably not gone quite how he wanted it.
That's it. And it's obviously one of those things that, what was it, 30 quid for a ticket? And he's basically ticked over, got a few points along the way, been fairly consistent and walking away with a couple hundred quid at the end of it. So that's the beauty of it, especially these lads chasing the majors. It can be brutal. You can have a lot of pretty average matches where you're not catching a lot, but it just gives another dimension to the fishing, which we keep going on about. It gives it something to fish for. So that's the majors pretty much covered. Do you want to have a jump over to the opens?
So good.
How long is it going to take before we're not impressed by the intro music?
It's a little bit self-satisfied with this technology at the moment, but it's just, yeah, it's nice to add a bit of polish to this as well.
That's it. Looks better than a dodgy Zoom call.
Yes.
But yeah, still way out in front. 122 points, Chris Wheeler Senior. He's going to be kicking himself because, as you can see, not got a ticket. As Gary Worley and Mick Crosby. So the top three, none of those have a ticket. So none of those are eligible for prizes. But if you look at, prizes we'll have a look at. So even more money for the open side of things, more anglers involved. So 700 quid for the winner. If you look at the venues, this is what we was on about, where the more anglers getting involved and more venues getting involved, the more interesting it's going to make it. Because at the moment, you can see Partridge Lakes features a lot, Bradshaw's, Messingham, Western Pools, and Bradshaw's. Don't know if I mentioned them already. But you've got the same sort of venues. Obviously, they're the ones regularly using hot fishing. They've got a lot of anglers involved, decent turnout on the matches and regular matches. So you're going to see quite a lot of them appearing throughout. But obviously, if you can get more venues, more bigger venues, it'll make it a lot more interesting as it goes on. But you can see Ryan Lidgard, who, although he's been added by Partridge Lakes, he does tend to fish all over the place. He's had a nice consistent season, 108 points, fished 27 matches, and he's one of those that is almost, I don't want to say the easy route, but probably the most consistent anglers are the ones that go in, fish in the same venue week in, week out. They know it, they can frame regularly. Like Stephen Kobach, Bradshaw's Hall is there pretty much 2 or 3 times a week by the looks of things. So he's going to know the venue. Ryan's been doing it, dotting around here, there, and everywhere. He's got a few different venues he goes to, and currently leading the way with a ticket. But he's dead tight, 108 points, 107. You got Ian Fellows on 103, Mike Senior 100 points. So at the moment, that can still go anywhere with regard to the tickets. Those 4, Jason Smith will be in play. Basically, anyone you look at, Roy Bradburn, who did mega last season, any one of those could still upset the results. Do you want to explain how it all works then? Because we're at the point of the season where droppers are coming into play, week 12 of 13. So it's the top 10 results that count?
Correct. So if you fish more than one match a week, it'll take your best session of that week. And then over the 13-week season, we take your best 10 sessions. So as you say, come week 10, the droppers start kicking in. So the changes aren't as big now, but obviously if you have a win and it can replace a crap result, that's what's starting to happen now. That's
it. So obviously you still get some decent jumps. Obviously on that first page, Pete Archer, he's had a decent week, jumped up 8 places on 99 points. Not got a ticket, but you can see the sort of jumps you can get on there. So like Roy Bradburn, John Jones, Jason Smith, all those are still in the mix. They can either jump up a few places or at the other end of the table, more upwards movement. How you're getting your droppers coming into play, but it's still well up for grabs on there. But at the moment,
I think as well, it's not surprising. I'd imagine that the fisheries now that are appearing up here kind of can't stop using, like the anglers have got into it now. I think we will type the results up for you, so there's literally no, like, you don't even have to be bothered to use a platform. I would love you to do it, but just to kind of give an inclination of what happened. So this is Tunnel, who are regular users. Do you know what I mean? That they started to use it, and you can see here of just their anglers how many are buying tickets, and I'm kind of putting this on the screen to show any of the fisheries or any of the anglers that go to fisheries, to show that once you start regularly using this, the anglers start to really get into it. And as I keep saying, I think that's going to help with match turnout. It helps with exposure of your matches and all that kind of stuff. We're going to be talking them on here as well. So it's way beyond just kind of sending your results to us. I think it's just going to be really good for the sport overall, but also the footfall for your own matches.
That's it. And it's always good to see, obviously, that's just the points scored at your own venue as well. So you can. There's nothing to stop you using this as a platform and then running your own things that you're giving a prize to the best result on the venue over the course of a season, or everyone chucking a quid in on every match, let it build up over time. There's nothing to stop you using this as a platform for doing that and setting up things at your own venue that attract more people, get more people excited about going fishing there, and gives them something else to fish for. So there's so much scope with it. But you can see there, like the top, what is it? At the top 9 people at the venue, you've got 6 of them using hot fishing. So it proves that it's working and getting people involved. And especially as you get to this point of the season, if you're up and in the mix or just out the money, you're going to be going to matches. You're going to be trying to get those few extra points. So you can see from a venue side of things how important it will be to end with your results on here.
And we're going to start to add, we already have a function on the site where you can search for matches, upcoming matches in your local area. And we're going to have the feature to search for matches where you can score your points. And I think that's going to start to kick in as this competition goes along, that when the prize money gets big enough and anglers start chasing it, I want that same kind of fever that used to be around the Camazan, that people were going around chasing it. So that's going to be a further incentive to be part of this, I think.
That's it. So obviously that's the Opens done. Should we have a quick look at the clubs and the overall?
Let's do it. Let's go into the clubs. Oh no, I didn't do.
Oh, you've not lost your button, have you?
I didn't do the intro for the clubs.
Oh no! Just play the Open one again.
I'll just do it. Okay, I'll just do the Opens, but this is clubs. What an amateur!
Oh, it was all going so well.
I was so self-satisfied with it.
So obviously, I think this one, again, looking like we might have a winner, Dave Chapman, who's been leading the way for quite a while now, fishing the over, I'm going to say 60s. I don't want to put him too old. Is it 50s?
So, yeah. But I mean, like constantly winning like 60 peg matches, like week in, week out, right?
Yeah, absolutely crazy how consistent it's been over the course of the season. Obviously, getting a little bonus for the size of the matches. It's consistently sort of 50, 60 anglers all the time. And it never seems to be out the top 3, to be honest.
No.
But do you want to grab up Stephen Curtis's and have a dive into that? Because he's second place at the moment, so still plenty of money up for grabs. Probably should. But you can see, obviously, Dave's been focusing on Tunnel Barn on the over 60s, which we had a little chat about last week. Whether sort of the over 60s is classed as a club or as an open. Again, be interested to see what people think, but I think you're settling on having to fish 2 or more different venues over the course of a season to qualify as a club.
Correct. So the angler, you as the angler can fish wherever you want, but like for it to be qualified as a club, it has to be more than one venue.
That's it. So you can see that the difference in results. Obviously, different lakes. He's had a first at Hallcroft this week, Willow Springs, Grange Park. So fishing all over the place. You see, probably what you'd call a more traditional club. It's like 15, 16 people consistently. So it's going to be the same group of anglers you're fishing against, going here, there, and everywhere in your sort of local area. So that probably falls more into your traditional club matches.
Yeah.
But always an interesting one. If it's one of those as well, you see someone that's fishing a venue near you, you can find out different ones in that sort of area by sort of looking at this. But even different clubs fishing the same area, sort of Mick Brown and Ian Simpson, you can see they're 5th and 6th, 85 and 93 points respectively, but fishing similar venues. So different clubs fishing similar venues, you can kind of compare and contrast your results against theirs, see how you're doing. But you can see club anglers seem to be getting involved a lot more. You can see 7 or so out of the top 20 have got tickets, but the money they're fishing for at that sort of level, like generally you're not going to be winning loads of money fishing a club match. It's going to be a bit more friendly, bit more laid back, what you're going to win 40, 50, 60 quid for winning a club match. But if you want to sort of take it a bit more seriously, you're doing well, you can enter this for, what's it going to be next season, 50 quid for a ticket, or just over £3 a week, I think it works out at. There we go, £3.85 if you're being precise. And you're fishing for like 700 quid. It's ridiculous. Like fishing at that level and having that sort of money up for grabs, it's like taking this a bit more seriously. It's like a mid ground for sort of, I want to carry on fishing club matches, but I want to be fishing for a bit more money, but I'm not ready to take that step up to opens. Doing this is amazing. Get your club on board, and as long as you're nice and consistent, like there's nothing stopping you being in that top. How many places are we paying out for club level?
So it's top 10 for the club this season, and we're hoping to sell a couple of hundred tickets for the autumn season, obviously depending on ticket sales. But if we sell what we're expecting, we want to be able to give out a grand top prize for the clubs and the opens, and paying out the top 20. Like, I want more people to think they'll be part of it. And I think this is a good chance to talk about what's different about the upcoming season as well. So it's going to be 50 quid entry. We're going to pay out the top 20 for the clubs, the top 20 for the opens. But what's also going to happen, in addition to that, at the end of the season, any organizer that has at least 3 of their anglers buy a ticket is going to be invited to a kind of a final at the end. So it'll be a team of 3 final at the end, as long as at least 3 of you have got a ticket. And that's going to be held at Tunnel Barn Farm, and it'll be a team of 3 match. So it'll be a bit of a jolly, bit of a get together. There'll be some prizes involved in that. But again, just for a bit of fun with that, if let's say you have 7 of your anglers who buy a ticket, it's going to be the top 3 anglers who rank within that. So that thing that I was kind of showing you here, where the organizers can show, click this banner to see where their anglers are doing, it's just a bit more fun between you as well, right? So even if none of your anglers finish in the top 20 to kind of qualify for those points, if you're one of the 20 organizers that has at least 3 of your anglers that have a ticket, you're going to be invited to this final as well. Again, it's just another way of getting people involved, getting everyone together, and just kind of spreading the prizes, and just trying to add just something a bit more fun and interesting to the sport, but also to give you a new dimension to your matches, to help people to encourage people to turn up.
That's it. It's a nice one as well, isn't it? You're like the lads you're fishing against week in, week out. Suddenly, at the end of the season, you're working together, like representing your lake or club or whatever it is, or your venue, and yeah, fishing for prizes, fishing for money, and all that stuff. So yeah, makes it sort of a different vibe through the course of the season, and probably makes it quite exciting just at that venue as well, knowing you're sort of 3rd or 4th, battling for your position in the team sort of thing. It just gives a whole new
exactly. And we're going to have 20 teams representing different clubs and fisheries from around the country. I think that would be really fun way of getting together, and just so everybody knows how they can see this, if they want to see how they're ranking for their particular venue. When you come to the hot fishing results table, you click this show filters here, you find your particular organizer, you click this little button here, and then it will open a table like this here. So it's the top rods for this organizer's matches only, and then you can see that one that's got a ticket there. So this one will really come into play next season when there's actually something to play for on that as well. And the organisers get an email of this every Wednesday morning when we update the results. So again, they can share that on WhatsApp or social media with their anglers, and it just gets the banter going as well, right?
That's it. And obviously gives you something to fish for, even if you're like, you can be a bit further down on there, maybe out the main money prizes on the actual hot fishing points, but you've still got something to fish for, fighting for your place in the team to go on and then obviously fish that final.
Exactly. And that's what I'm really hoping for. I mean, look, there's people, as you scroll down, kind of the people on page 3 would be kind of getting tickets. So there'd be people down here that wouldn't be in the prizes, but they would be invited along to this competition. So any anglers that are watching this that like the idea of what we're saying, it is free for your organisers to use the platform if they want to do themselves. if you think they're never going to do it, and that's absolutely fine. If they contact us, we'll put them in a special little WhatsApp group, and they could just send us a photo of their handwritten weigh sheet, and we'll do all this for them and put them on there. Then you as the anglers can get involved. So there is really zero excuse. If they don't do it, it's just from, I don't know.
That's it. So yeah, there's loads of sort of benefits to going out and buying a ticket now for the venues themselves. So yeah, it's getting better and better as it goes along, and more sort of benefits for everyone getting involved in it. So yeah, be interesting to see what happens next season. But obviously, as a added benefit, you've got your clubs, your opens, and your majors, but there is still money up for grabs on the overall side of things as well, isn't there?
Absolutely. So yeah, there'll still be, I mean, for this season, we've still got the, let me find this. We've still got prizes for the overall. Let's pull this up here.
So you can see, obviously, most of these we've talked about, or all of these we've talked about as it goes along. Dave Chapman leading the way, Chris Weeder Senior, who's leading the opens but without a ticket, and Ryan Ligard, Stephen Curtis. So this is if you're fishing sort of opens and majors, or club matches and majors, this is the amalgamation, great word, of both sets of points. So if you're fishing a bit of a mix and match, you might not be featuring in the overall, but you might not be featuring on the opens or the majors separately, but you can feature in the overalls if combined your points do add up to get you up there. But you can see there's a bit of a mix on there. You've got open anglers, you've got club anglers. This is everyone in the country, everyone on hot fishing. So if you're leading the way like Dave is, you've got distinct bragging rights, but also up for a few quid as well.
Exactly. So if you win the overalls as well, it's an additional 500 quid for doing that. So that's nice. And next season as well, I want to start to bring some trophies into this as well. I think I saw on one of Jamie's videos the other day, he was showing some trophy when he had all the names of the past winners.
Yeah, the
and I was like,
UK champs one.
It was a UK chat. I was like, yeah, I want one of those. So yeah, we're going to get that for next week. So if you're one of the past winners, we will get your name engraved on that. But just kind of bringing some of that into the sport as well. I want to get that for the juniors, to the female anglers, where we want to start to bring some prizes in as well. So there's loads going on. We need the organisers signed up for this to keep growing. I think the anglers are really getting into it. I mean, I'm just kind of skimming now. Unique anglers that have been part of this season, the 7,129, which I think is amazing, considering I don't even think we're scratching the surface for clubs and fisheries that we've got signed up. I think it's really exciting where this competition is going to go. That's
it. You only need a small percentage of anglers actually getting involved and getting tickets, and suddenly it's the biggest prize pot in angling by some margin, isn't it? It's sort of the amount of money up for grabs. If you get 10% of match anglers signed up on it across the country, it's going to be ridiculous. So obviously at the moment it's mega that you can win like a few hundred quid, but suddenly we start getting up to the thousands and tens of thousands and all that. It makes it even more exciting. So yeah, next few seasons and next few years could be very interesting. But at the moment, I think it's probably your best opportunity with less people buying tickets.
Yeah. Exactly. This is the time to win it if you're going to win it, because as this grows, obviously it's going to get more difficult.
That's it, and it's one of those that you've got on your CV, and in years to come when it's like the biggest event, you'd be like, yes, I won that in like the early days before.
Exactly. So we'll be giving a big push on the tickets in the next few weeks, but if you do go to the website now, autumn tickets are on sale if you want to get those early. Like I say, that will qualify you for the clubs and the Open League. And you also now get entered in, so long as at least 3 of you within your organizer have a ticket. You'll also be invited if you qualify to that kind of big match at the end. It's kind of like a final. I don't know what to call that yet, but it's kind of like a team final at the end where you'll be able to represent your club or fishery.
Nice. So low win. Exciting to see what happens.
Brilliant. All right then, Rich. Thank you, my friend.
Brilliant. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.